because there was many opportunities.
Steve and Kevin might have had a few of those flashes when we went to TAPCO when I drove.
Same trip, Des Moines.
There was only one time when I really seriously almost killed him, but it was fine. The other cars slowed down. They didn't get us.
Those are actually on record, almost T-bone somebody in the intersection. If that had cut out in front of the
Well, I
car,
suppose
they
you're
would have
supposed to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
All right. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Try some more words. Should have a chance to look at this agenda. I did. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented. I'll second that. Motion Derby and second Stenberg to approve the minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Consider for approval cell phone reimbursement policy.
Same as last time. Since the last meeting, I have thought about it some more, and I guess I feel like this is probably the most fair to the county and the employees. If we were to go with, just a flat rate, like we talked, then it doesn't seem like it might be simpler, but I still question whether it can be challenged.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a problem with this. It's probably just fair as anything, unless we made the flat rate in the glass.
This one has accountability to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve the cell phone reimbursement policy as presented.
Motion from Derby and second from Stenzer to approve the cell phone reimbursement policy as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Stand right again.
Okay, Thomas Kaufman, Veterans Affairs, to discuss annual report of activities. Morning.
Morning. The only difference this year is we didn't have Vetrospect, but we had phone and fax, pens, NAC VSO school, which is National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, but we went to I went to the state school instead of the national school, so I went to Des Moines, so it's considerably cheaper, and a VSO salary. So with that being split in half, that would justify our $10,000 grant from the state, and then I'll submit a draft to the auditor before we send it off, but it's not due until the middle of July. So that was the expenses, and I'm basing that on last year's report as the examples. It's all just real simple.
Do you, as far as outreach to the veterans, what's the breakdown? How many come into the office versus how many you go out and see?
In July, we're going to be doing nursing home visits. The update, I have 6 of them that I will be doing, including Mill Whip. I'll be doing lectures to them as well, plus the holidays. So 4th of July parades. Plus I'm also doing, I don't do every funeral, but I'm doing the majority of the funerals, especially the ones I'm invited to. So there's usually contact at that, and then the surviving family members come in the office, file claims, and that's how I get that out. So that's the majority of what will be taking place in July. Otherwise, during the rest of the year, I've lost, on average, each year 10 veterans. So the amount of home visits has reduced dramatically in the last couple of years. And I coordinate with public health to find out if there's a change in veteran status, if somebody has entered the assisted living or nursing home, or if I don't know other circumstances. So the amount of home visits that are required, there's maybe 3 home visits that I do annually right now, and that's because they can't come to the office. So that's where that's at.
What was that second one you visit, Mill something?
Millwit, military Winnebago Itasca travelers. There's usually about 20 of them, but they also bring claims with them. So it involves out-of-state veterans that come to these rallies, and they save their claims for this time of year. So I end up being the Winnebago, literally, motorhome veterans VSO. And I file comp and pension claims for them. And so that involves statewide. So I file in Des Moines, then they end up going to Arizona or Texas or Florida or California, typically. I already have 2 scheduled that are coming from Arizona just to see me. They don't go to their VSO, they come to me because they move around. So I'm localized representative for them.
Solid questions. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep. Free to go.
Thank you.
How are you?
Okay, Scott Miners, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
Morning.
All right.
Most of what I got today is about bridges. We have started on this year's first bridge replacement project. That's up by south and west of Hawksback just a little bit. The other day we got back our bridge inspection report. We didn't get the whole report. We got a list of bridges that need to be updated as far as their postings. This year's report is this year is the year they inspect all the bridges. Every other year we inspect all the bridges, and the off years we inspect the worst ones. There's been about 4 on that list, but anyway, this year we have 10 new bridges to post and 8 to change, I believe. So if you look at our timber bridge inventory, we have about 50, and there's only about 10 left that are to be posted. So our timber bridges are not in good shape, so we got to really work to keep a lot of bridge replacements on our schedule. So we'll be getting those postings up over the next few weeks.
Do we have a map of where the postings are, what they are?
Yep, I can get you that.
Anything else for secondary roads? Okay, consider for approval federal aid agreement with the Iowa DOT for project number as it's stated.
Barron 69, yep. This project we've talked about before is near Merle Robinson, 2 miles west of Myrie Slough there. Project is to replace a timber bridge with a 12 by 10 box culvert, and it is 80% federally funded, and that is the nature of this agreement. Project is estimated near $200,000, so the local cost would be $40,000. I'll need signatures from you and Carla on approval.
And this one's being completed when?
I would expect this to be fall of next summer, or fall of next construction season, I should say. It'll bid July.
Where's that at?
So from the Christensen Farm feed mill, mile north, mile west. North side of Linden 21.
Yeah, it's just west of Merle's place, right?
Just east.
Or east of his place?
Yep. I mean, his place, his yard butts up right to the west side of the bank.
I knew it was right close to which side. Why is that a federal bridge?
You can get federal aid for any bridge that is over 20 feet in the county. Well, there's some criteria with traffic counts and other things, and this one happens to qualify.
What left is not much traffic.
The minimum traffic's 25 vehicles a day, so we do have several that don't have that, but this one.
Merle, I was telling you, must be a bit of a jet setter. You should go to trucks here. Yeah, well, I'll make a motion to approve the federal aid agreement with the Iowa DOT for project number as stated. Second that. Motion from Gensville, second from Stensrud to approve the federal aid agreement with the Iowa DOT for project number as stated for $200,000. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Auditor's office will discuss drainage matters. It should have been as stated, it should have been as written.
You ready to come in and see us? Mark, have you heard anything of the situation on the east side of town? Getting there soon. That Ampere.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't touched with them since we looked at it. I don't know.
I haven't heard from Jeremy at all.
So he hasn't
No. Have you talked to him?
Not since we looked at it.
And I know everybody's busy.
A lot of times they're saying, we're waiting for it to dry up. Well, it's been kind of dry lately.
And now they're all busy. Trying to get to the repairs we already have.
I noticed, the one, tile hole on 69 north of my, or south of my place finally got fixed. It was in the right of way of the state, but that finally got fixed. So.
And then Jay Mathis, did you talk to
Well, you were gonna check on that.
to see if it's in your
Carol's.
ditch?
I told Carol that she could talk to Jerry, who she'd been dealing with, and I could give them a permit to dig on the other side of the road, or they could work with the landowner on the other side of the road to dig there, see if they could locate where the problem is. So she was gonna follow up with Roger's brother.
Okay.
So it's in there.
Okay. Because I just talked to Jay yesterday, and I don't think he was aware of that.
Jay,
That's Carol's son.
okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, I
I guess
really.
I should have, I was out there when they were looking at it. I should have got back to him, but what you had told me the other day when you called me.
Yeah, we obviously haven't talked about it, so.
Where are we sitting with 103 Beverly Mills?
He was just here yesterday. They're still doing some reports. They're getting one done, and so then they'll keep moving to the next project.
When do they
I didn't ask him a
estimate
time.
time?
I didn't ask him.
That needs to get going.
Anything else for drainage? Consider for approval, pay estimate number 3 to Larson Contracting for DD 23.
Carla's got that. Yes.
You have a cell phone number for Petersburg?
Who?
Petersburg,
Who's that?
the engineer on that 103.
No, it's Rick Hopper. From Jacobson Westergaard.
Or can't remember his first name. One of the twins. What would you be talking? Well, only Rick's.
Okay. Yeah, I have that.
Didn't Beansford Jim do the preliminary a year ago?
Is it them who has it?
I'm pretty sure that's.
Okay.
I know.
I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Sure,
So,
Petersburg, been working with Al.
not at Petersburg, it's that Swears kid. His dad has he's the supervisor in Hancock County. Yeah.
It's just a repair.
No, that's gonna be an improvement.
Yeah.
That's why I think that Jacobs and Westergaard was involved.
I don't remember. I'd have to look at the file. I
I don't
don't.
know that we've given an improvement to either of the companies in Mason City, have we?
Well, we haven't done it yet.
Okay.
This is preliminary.
Well, if there needs to be a reclass, Hopper or Greg is the only one who does that right now.
Maybe we should check the minutes and see if we're supposed to be working on this.
Well, it's in my file.
Make a motion to accept the pay approval for DD 23 Larson.
Motion from Stenger and a second from Derby to approve the pay estimate number 3 to Larson Contracting for DD 2-3. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Discussion with possible action, drainage administrative costs.
Right now, we have, administrative cost that goes under drainage at $3. I did some checking around, and most counties have a $5 administrative cost. There's more and more that we're needing to do all the time with these drainage projects. Chris has her hands full a lot, and we would just like the administrative fee to be $5 per parcel versus $3.
For what?
For the administrative cost for the drainage parcels. So basically, anytime we bill a district, there'd be a $5 assessment per parcel.
Instead of a 3.
I thought we talked about this another time. I thought we did have done something about it.
Well, I thought so too, but Chris said it was still $3, so.
And it seems like,
Maybe it was just during budget.
And I think we talked about it, but I don't believe there's ever been a motion to change it.
I was under the assumption we'd already changed.
We table this till next week?
okay, we'll move on to 9. Consider for approval fireworks permit for Craig Class. Callis.
I'll make that motion.
I'll say that.
Derby and second for Stensrud to approve fireworks permit for Craig Callisett. All in favor say aye. Aye. Consider for, consider for approval fireworks permit for John Lund.
So we got verification on, okay, good. I'll make it good. You're just better.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve for John Lund fireworks permit.
I'll second the motion.
From Stensrud and second from Derby to approve fireworks permit for John Lund. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Consider for approval fireworks permit for Three Fingers Campground.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. A motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold to approve the fireworks permit for Three Fingers Campground. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Bill, can I go back to drainage for a second?
All right.
103, V&K is the engineer to do the improvement, but they don't reclass. So we had hired Jacobs and Westergaard to do the reclassification part. As of March 17th, we are still waiting for wetland determinations, and that's the last I've heard from V&K. So there we have it. Sound good?
Good.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Okay, number 12, discussion for county's options for jailers and dispatchers.
We were sent an agreement by Jennifer.
And Andy updated it, there's just a couple points that he,
Okay.
but for the most part, this is the same except a couple of points under what the sheriff would provide. So the only thing that was added was under, let's see here. Section 7, 4 and 5, he added, sheriff will not mandate commission personnel be required to enter a cell. And then under normal circumstances,
Section what?
section 7.4.
It's not mine says.
That's what I was saying.
Oh, did I print you the wrong one?
Mine says the sheriff will coordinate with Winnebago County Public.
Okay, I'm sorry, I printed you guys the wrong copy. This is apparently the only copy that has it. Anyway, he added 2 lines that the sheriff would not mandate commission personnel be required to enter a cell, and that under normal circumstances, they would assign inmates bunks that enhance commission personnel's ability to conduct hourly personal observations from inside the control room.
Copy that.
Yep.
You may run across the hall and make a couple copies of the whole thing, or is that okay?
Yeah.
Here, I'll get it. Get a staple. 6. Knock that on the floor.
Well, following the last meeting we had with the commission and supervisor and sheriff, I guess I had conversations with a couple of commission members that were wondering, is it feasible to keep the commission together, or is it better to just put it directly under the sheriff? And they're looking at with the duties of the dispatchers and whatnot, it seems to them more common sense to just put them directly under the sheriff. I don't know what Dave feels about that. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, according to Delbert, last week at the commission meeting, he said that almost every county in the state of Iowa is under the sheriff.
surprised a couple of years ago where I found out that it wasn't. I just assumed it was all the sheriff's department.
And it used to be,
476.
yeah.
It was actually under the sheriff after that. The commission was formed in 76, but the sheriff was, Don Vogel was in charge of it, Tom Lundquist was in charge of it. And I don't know
I think
what.
at that time they had rotated around who, because Doug Book was in charge when
Doug
I
was in charge
started.
of it for a while, but it wasn't rotated. Sheriff Old just wanted to get out from under it. Doug was in charge, then he wanted to get out from under it. Davis was in charge. So it wasn't rotated on a rotational
Okay.
basis, it was just
So
changed.
they had decided that they didn't want to be in charge of it. I don't know, I guess my opinion is that the way it is now, you have people in charge that are very closely tied with what communications does. And communications is an ever-evolving entity in the whole state. I mean, 911 is constantly changing. The amount of information coming into dispatch is constantly changing, and I think that by putting it under the sheriff, you're going to take away from some of what the dispatchers are doing for the community and public safety by possibly allowing the sheriff's department to place more emphasis on them to do jail duties and taking them away from the public safety side of what they do.
Can you give me an example?
Well, for instance, right now, dispatchers act as jailers for a good more hours out of the day than not. Because there's not a jailer in the building to do jail checks and whatnot. So they're in charge. They're watching out for the jailers, and it's just a lot of responsibility to put on one person. And this is why we brought it to the commission's attention back in February of 2016, because we were concerned about how much is being placed on the dispatchers when they're in charge of keeping, the whole community safe outside of the dispatch center. And, you're also putting them in charge of, the jail also. And, in the agreement, we're willing to help the jail as much as possible and have those extra eyes, on there. I guess I don't know why the commission would want to put, if the commission disbands, then who tells them what to pay for communications into that budget?
It would be one budget, it'd be in the sheriff's.
So the communities would no longer have to pay into?
No, they would, just like
Just like they did back in 76.
right, and they're, Hancock County was a little different. They weren't charging the communities, and now they're going to be charging the communities, so.
Right, and the Board of Supervisors tells them what to pay, right?
Right.
Okay.
And we can still coordinate it that way. You talked about in February 2016, it was voiced that there was an issue there. Well, we feel like we've taken that step to help take some of that burden off by allowing for him to hire more jailers. So come the 1st of July, we'll have 3 new people in training to do more of that shift. So it'd just be minimal hours, I wouldn't say minimal, but maybe a third of the hours or less that they would be doing it rather than more hours or not. So we've taken those steps already. And I think the sheriff, I'm sure, would take, let you proceed with all the communications changes and whatnot, and we are supportive of communications changes and how they're proceeding, but I just look at, the liability we have and kind of working through an agreement is a challenge. Still kind of seems to me leaving a gray area.
In what manner? Like, when you look at the agreement, what do you see as gray area there?
But they're still working for the commission rather than under the sheriff. The one area that
And I guess.
why is it this way in all the other counties and we are the different?
And it's working in all the other counties. I was just gonna say that, evidently it works.
We got here because back in the old days, there was people that didn't want to take the responsibility. And we have a sheriff that wants to take the responsibilities of having it under his administration.
And what happens when he's not the sheriff anymore?
I guess we can,
Because right now you've got two people, in myself and Andy, that are happy to take responsibility and have been doing a good job of it, I think. So you're looking at getting rid of Andy and myself as the supervisor, or,
Not you.
but the commission appoints me as the supervisor under the bylaws.
Well, I guess I overstepped my bounds.
Well, no, I don't think you did at all, Mike. I'm not looking to replace Jennifer at all. I think she's been doing a fine job.
and I know Hancock County right now, they have in place their system and Andy works for them part-time, works for us part-time. How it works with the sheriff, I don't know how going forward, but
Something's just rattling around in my head here, out of curiosity. We run into a tornado, we run into a natural disaster of some sort. Does this agreement then mean the sheriff now has control of all emergency dispatches and Andy is no longer a part of the emergency controls?
and does Andy get paid by another source? Because all the budgets I've seen through this, he doesn't make a lot of money.
Andy's our emergency management with Hancock County. So Andy gets paid 50% of his salary by emergency management. So the other part of his duties is working with Jennifer as the
Director.
director of communications.
Right.
So he gets paid like, what is it?
It's like around $3,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
3,000.
that's
Yeah.
all I've ever seen in a budget.
Yeah, it's a very small amount to help Jennifer as
Which is a different
director.
job than what you were describing.
Right.
Yeah, that's the emergency management part of it.
So he still will be in control of emergency management, but he will not have the wherewithal to communicate with 911 dispatchers to coordinate emergency controls.
I would hope he would as emergency management.
That's part of his job as the emergency management.
One of the things the state has been pushing towards is moving communications under emergency management, and then having the emergency management board, which is similar to our communications board, be in charge. That's kind of the push the state's going towards.
If Forest City or Lake Mills, doesn't matter, whatever town, gets hit with a tornado, who's in charge? Emergency management, you or the chief of police in the city?
The emergency management would be in charge of, coordinating help, assistance coming in. It's the police department or sheriff's department that would be in charge of law enforcement issues, just like it is now. It's just a tragedy that happened, but it doesn't change anything as far as
Okay.
their roles go.
So,
It's all part of each community's hazard mitigation plan, so
Right.
each community would be different.
right,
It's all spelled out, should be.
I guess what I'm getting at is, does this mesh with the mitigation plan that was reached with Winnebago County? That's what I'm really kind of trying to get towards.
what's that?
Does this agreement then mesh with the mitigation plan, the emergency mitigation plan that was reviewed by the county and approved?
I don't see anything changing.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. We're good.
I mean, it's gonna be pretty much all the same policies in place, and nothing like that can change.
It's been my contention all along, I've never understood the need for an emergency management coordinator. You know, if our safety, our public officials can't handle it, I mean, then we better take a hard, as a population, we better take a hard look at who's running the sheriffs, but I think we're in good hands, you know.
I think I sit on the regional emergency management commission down in Mason City. The things that they network about and things that they work on are very valuable to our communities.
Like what?
Well, we see a lot of training on some spills, things like that, and you know, train car spills. We had a big program on one over in Northwood when they had that fire at the fertilizer plant over there, and we had to evacuate the town over there. It was emergency management that was in charge of that whole thing, coordinating with the Mason City. What's their terms? The
Regional
hazmat.
regional hazmat team.
So,
Emergency management has a tremendous amount of resources, whether it be through a statewide, you know, each county has an emergency manager, but they all share information and resources and things that law enforcement, you know, they need to worry about law enforcement.
For instance, when Ragbri came through, Andy was able to get a trailer from another county, emergency management, I don't know where it
I
came
think
from.
it came from.
But it came in as a backup dispatch center. You know, like Mark said, they have a lot of resources that.
You know, they have a lot of search and rescue resources.
This really isn't on the agenda to
Getting off
discuss
subject.
emergency management, it's to talk about the jailers and dispatch.
well, that's part of it. I mean, to me, that's all, these are peripheral items, yes, but it goes into the budget for this 911, so I mean, they're all intertwined.
No. The emergency, 911 has a separate budget, communications has a separate budget.
I understand that, but it all comes out of county money.
No.
911.
Well, the majority of it then, let's quit splitting hairs here. The majority of it comes from the citizens of Winnebago County. And, so when we go to an oil spill, I know Lake Mills is schooled, the fire department is schooled, they're the ones that handle it. I don't know if Forest City is, but I know Lake Mills knows how to handle an oil spill.
Right, but we can only do, and just like Lake Mills would be, it's called the operations level, meaning we can stabilize the scene, you know, contain it, do all that kind of thing, but we can't do anything with a cleanup. Whereas the regional hazmat team comes in, they take care of the cleanup.
Right. And
We're not technicians, there isn't a service in the county anywhere that's technicians.
right, and so all Andy will do is call that team, correct?
That would be part of it.
Yeah.
But to go along with that, there's a lot of notifications and all kinds of things that Andy would be doing on top of.
But the question comes back, how often does that happen?
It only has to happen once.
That's right, but you're not gonna stop a tornado. So
Thank God.
once a tornado comes through, the damage is done. It's just a matter of pulling together and get it taken care of. So. Same with an oil spill. Once it's happened, you're not gonna reverse it.
Right.
No matter what emergency it's happened, it's just a matter of people stepping up and taking care of it. So.
Well, going back to the dispatch and jail personnel, I just like to Not that they don't enjoy serving on the commission, but they just think it would be cleaner that way.
Anybody else got an opinion on it?
And this was only a discussion item today because we can't sit off to the side and talk to each other. We have to do it in a public meeting.
Has Adam seen this agreement?
I don't know if he was on that email or not.
He doesn't, I mean, I've asked his opinion over the other commission items, and he said he doesn't work for the commission, so if the county wants
But
Adam
it's
to look
with
at
the-
it,
with
then.
the sheriff, so it'd be definitely.
Right, and I don't know if the sheriff gave it to Adam or not.
I have not talked to Adam about it.
So we'll make sure we get this to Adam and take a look at it.
Further discussion on it then? Go on. Saw Robert walk by once.
Which way did he go?
He went that way.
There it is. You're up, bud.
I actually passed him on. That's their average, I passed my wife. No, not Matt, Matt wouldn't be involved in that. Whatever, but.
Number 13, discussion with Robert Schwartz regarding trees in the road ditch.
Yeah, good morning. Got a few things for you. I'll give you just a packet of information about our roadside management program in general, broadleaf control, noxious weed control and brush, and just kind of what we do to keep track of calls we get, how we respond, documents that we use for recording herbicide applications, some of the chemicals we're using. It might be more information you're asking for, but I'm going to kind of a copy of a letter that Rick Lidley sends out as weed commissioner to individuals that have issues. But most of this I don't think you've probably seen before. And as far as brush control, we actually started, it's been a couple of weeks ago, and what the guys do is, over the years, we used to do like a third of the county at a time, tiers, east to west. And in more recent years, we go where the brush is. So, I mean, we don't necessarily do that. We just, so if somebody's got trees that are head high, they might only be, a year or two old. Some of the species will grow pretty, 5-6 feet in a year, the cottonwoods and those types of things. But they're doing a combination of things. They're either spraying just a foliar application with a handle on off the truck, or they're girdling it and treating it, or they'll cut it down and treat the stump with a chemical called pathway, which translocates down into the roots, and the idea is to kill it. You can drive a lot of miles of the county, not see any trees, and you get somewhere where there's a good seed source, a grove, and downwind of that is where you're going to see most of your trees. In the past, I've talked with Mark and had him give me maps from his maintainer operators. We haven't really talked this year yet, but if Mark or Scott gets wind of some trees somewhere that we maybe haven't been to yet, they'll pass it on to us. Did you talk to a Birkland the other day? Was that the name that you couldn't remember? Up in the north end of the county?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we talked to him and we're taking care of his trees. So what they do is they'll keep a map like this in their trucks. So they're covering, and this is an older map, but they just basically put on the map everywhere they've been, and they've got GPS in their truck. They'll mark when whenever they've applied herbicide, and that works kind of nice if we have an issue come up or somebody wants to know where they've been, we can pull up those maps and document the exact time they were out and when they sprayed. Same thing with noxious weeds, with broadleaves. They'll generally cover every county road in the county throughout the season, and usually 2 times on most, good share of the roads. Hard surface, for sure, they're out there at least twice. And then they know where some of the more problem areas are, but with the chemical we're using, which is Milestone for the broadleaf control, we get some residual effect of that, so even carries over to the next year. So we're seeing those what were bigger patches get smaller and not as much of a problem. But, and I appreciate if you guys get calls to pass it on to me as soon as you get them, so the landowner's not sitting around waiting for us and wondering why we're not there, or somebody's not responding. But in Berkland, we went and took care of him last week, and there's still some more smaller trees in the ditch they're going to take care of. But like I said, it's a combination of they'll cut them down at the ground level, treat the stump, or girdle them with a chainsaw, depends on the size of the tree, and then treat that girdle with a chemical, or just foliar apply. And I tell the guys they got to do a 360-degree application, otherwise a lot of these species it won't kill. And I can see if they've just sprayed one side, it'll kill that side of the tree, and the other side might not be dead. And we only kill what's in the right of way. We don't treat anything over the fence. Now, if it's hanging over, we might burn it back a little bit, but if it's in front of an acreage, we're a little more sensitive there too. We don't get too carried away with killing something. Sometimes they take ownership of those trees in the fence line, and we don't know if they are or not. So if there's a question, if they have a question about whether something is on the line in the right of way or not, leave it and ask me or ask Rick or ask the landowner, but don't kill something that's questionable as far as being in the road ditch.
I think the major question we had, or concern, was that we just need to keep the trees in our right of way under control.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. And we have hired B&W occasionally over the years to take a specific couple of roads or maybe a township. So I have talked to Don. He is available. We might have him do a couple of roads, but for the most part, I don't know if you guys have anything. I know I talked to Scott the other day, and he had a specific road, and the guys were on it last week already, so I think it was 410th. So, I mean, number one concern is safety, of course, as far as something becoming a visibility issue, and then drifting and just that type of thing. So. But like I said, just make sure you let us know if you get a call, and you got my numbers. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 14, consider for approval salaries of employees for fiscal year 2018.
Most of these you've already approved, but they didn't get a stamp last week. The one on the bottom.
Oh, we're west.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the salaries for employees for fiscal year 2018.
Second that. Motion by Derby, second by Stanger, to approve the salaries for employees for fiscal year 2018. All in favor, say aye.
They're all
Aye.
that's all I'm taking.
All right, Scott, how did you come up with writing your last name the way you did?
For my signature, you mean?
Yeah.
Looks a lot like my dad's. To be honest, I don't know. But evolved over time too, you know.
Why would I think of that right now?
You scan through pages, you flip through pages, amazing things happen when that takes place. I find my best thinking going through War and Peace.
You ever seen the Seinfeld episode on that?
Great stuff.
There's actually a partition attached to this.
I had to stop the tape and so I could keep going because otherwise I'd have to rewind constantly to get back to where, that was his best work right there, I think.
That was just like the Andy Griffith show, it's all those, the main
Hi, Chris,
character
this is
is
Terry.
based on.
That K1 excavating
Not the one
one,
that's the funniest, or
Bill,
the main, it turns out to be the main character.
57, lap 1.
Elaine and.
Should there be a partition attached to it, or,
George,
okay, so we still pay for
I really don't think Jerry's all that funny in that.
No.
Okay. All right.
A line to me is,
But
Oh, she's a great
she,
actor.
she's the most obnoxious. I don't think she got a fair shake in
He's gonna get petitions.
the New Adventures of Old.
Yeah.
And I just, she didn't get the right writers for that one, because that thing had so much potential.
It did. What was that?
Old Christine. Yeah. There's a lot of people who said that she needed to change writers midstream. It wasn't hitting off.
yeah, he's just building on the secondary road.
Yeah. Let's not use him. If we-
Oh, I have. Didn't have much success with those ones.
Yes. But I think these are drainage. He just didn't bother to get a petition. He didn't bother to go through the proper channels. He just did whatever he wanted. Well, and one of them was a trustee drain, and now the trustees don't want to pay it because they didn't approve it ahead of time.
He never talked to me either on the Hanson plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the county claims.
Second that. Motion Derby, second Stenger, to approve the county claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. You're 16, so.
Oh, maybe I did. Maybe I did do that one. Two of them might have not been able to get Elvis, and so maybe that would be.
Just go into open forum until we get through.
Then you're open for it.
Yeah, I've got it.
She's Missouri, isn't she?
There's one I'm talking about, understand?
Is it a form? I just had this to turn in. I'm hiring an intern again for the summer. So hopefully we can get that project finished up, the Critical 360 thing. And this is actually, he interned last year too. And so I'm excited to have him come back.
How are you? Why don't you have a seat?
Just go down. These are maps of the posting changes for the year.
Thank you.
Yeah, just let me know when you're on open forum.
We're on open forum now.
It's now, right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to figure out, I'm thinking I had up to that. I'll
There's,
just wait till you guys are done. Go ahead and keep going.
Should be reviewed. Yeah, we're ready for you.
You remember me from last time?
Yeah.
Sure do.
I took you up on your offer to go to Thompson to try to get my work truck back.
Yeah.
But, I went to Tom Swearingen property and whoever pulled it out of the building, they really pulled it out like they didn't give a hoot. They wrecked it. They twisted the frame and it was useless. And they pulled it so hard that they knocked the wheels off the rim, and then they bent up the rim and they dragged it all the way out to his place.
I suppose it had flat tires when they pulled it out.
Well, goes back to when you said that you talked with the city and they said that I could have no work truck back. I thought at least I'm getting something. But I think it looked like when I looked at the truck, it looked like they were trying to piss me off. I'm sorry to say that, because the other thing is when they told you to tell me that I could buy my property back, that was an insult. Because I already paid for my property, why should I have to pay for it twice? Well, anyway, I kept my cool. I went to my lawnmower guy, Byron Christensen, and he does scrap metal. I had to scrap my truck. He couldn't believe the size of it either. But when he went out to get it, he saw a bunch of scrap metal that was from my property on his property too, Tom Swearingen's property. And then he told me that he saw the people that cleaned up my place. It was Tom Swearingen, Troy Blues, and they were using the Mary equipment to clean up my property. Well, then when they told you that it costed the city $10,000 to clean up my place, how come it only took them a day with Tom's equipment? How can you make $10,000 a day? So now my proposal is this. I also heard from Troy Blues and Tom Swearingen and bragging about how they're working for the city with no insurance, taking property down and cleaning up stuff with no insurance. I said that's exactly my problem with my building. When I had it, I couldn't get insurance. And that's why I didn't do anything. My hands are tied. I showed you the copy that I had from Farnborough with Ted Gassman. Well, here, if they can do what they did to me without insurance, that's just a big no-no. They can't be endangering the lives of people in the city, tearing down buildings and stuff. And then Tom bragged that he called in a favor and had somebody with an excavator come in as soon as he became mayor in January, tell me, and they were doing stuff without insurance. And Troy was just laughing. And then I heard from Byron Christensen. He told me that he heard from some friend that Tom Swearingen took my dirt bike out of the shed before it was burnt, and he gave it to his nephew. So I went to Steve, the deputy sheriff, happily, and he investigated, but he couldn't find any evidence, but that doesn't mean it did not happen, because Tom Swearingen told Steve that they got the property and they got the personal property as well, and they can do whatever they want, but that's not right, because of a conflict of interest involved here. He shouldn't have had any of my scrap metal on the property, he shouldn't have had my pickup on the property, and they shouldn't have ruined my pickup. You know, they acted so nice to you and told you all these wonderful things. Well, I go out and see my truck, he should have stopped. And if you don't believe me, you can go to Byron Christensen, he had the scrap it. So then, but my proposal is this.
And I just wanted.
I want you guys to get a bill from them, a bill stating how it costed them $10,000, and I want proof. And I want to know who got the money. The other thing I want is,
Yeah, and the next.
I want the minutes for October, November, and December, because I went to the city hall meeting, and in November, I requested an interpreter. And I told them 3 times there better be an interpreter when I come in December. I come in, they didn't say hi to me, they didn't look at me. They went ahead and got 10 minutes inside their meeting, and I said, whoa, where's my interpreter that I asked for when we had to put it on the agenda? I asked for it 3 times. Well, the receptionist said, you're supposed to call before you come. That's like you guys asking me to call before I come here. That's ridiculous. I'm deaf. I don't have a landline. Hello? I can talk all I want, but I ain't gonna get anything out of it. And then Tom Thwaiting has the odyssey, and I used to have a lot of respect for him. Remember when we were talking about this in the beginning, I said I respect him. I didn't think he had anything to do with it, but then this is what really changed my mind about everything. Tom Thwaiting said, we live good enough.
We just, does our control pertain to civil matters? You know, I just called that, and he's not in.
Well, I mean, I would think that the city of Thompson would be,
We don't have any control over civil matters, do we? I wouldn't think so.
Tom Thwaiting said that you lived good enough, and he said, let's move on. And then he was just telling me what they were going to tell me, but I said, look, you guys did everything with the law. Now I want to do things legally too. And then Willard, Scott Willard's younger brother, he said, Stacy Willard, he said, what for? What do you need an interpreter for? I said, because it's my right. You are a public servant. You serve me. And Tom says, no, I don't serve you. He said, yes, you do. That's your oath as mayor. You should have remembered your oath when you took your oath. If you don't like it, you shouldn't be mayor. Right. So, what I'd like to request is to have you guys look up the minutes. And if I'm not mentioned in anywhere between October and December, there's something going on. And after this happened, I went to Des Moines. I went to Des Moines on Memorial Weekend, and I went to the Lucas State Building. And I talked with this girl, Monica Stone. And she worked at the Lucas State Building, but she told me, I'm sorry to tell you this, but due to the state budget cuts, the deaf services is no longer in existence in the Lucas State Building. They've been totally shut down. And that's one of the reasons why I went down there, because I figured I'd get a deaf lawyer and stuff. And so then she said, your only choice now, since you're already here in person, your last resort is to go to the Grind Building, which is right next door. I went to the Grind Building, and that's basically civil rights, human rights, but they do have a skeleton department that's called the disability deal. But
What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
Jeff Cleveland.
Jeff what?
Jeff Cleveland, like Cleveland,
Oh, Jeff Cleveland.
Jim Cleveland, my father.
This seems to me like it's a civil matter. I guess, what would you like from us?
Well, I guess what I'd like is if you guys could get proof of when they told him that it costed them $10,000, I want to know who got it. Because if they got it,
We would not have the dollar amount in our minutes pertaining to what Thompson's transactions were. We will have minutes of when you last met with us, but that would be it.
He wants Thompson City Council minutes, I think.
We don't have them. We don't have Thompson City's,
If you go to the Thompson City Hall, their minutes are public information, and I'm sure they have to give them to you, so.
You may have to pay for copies, like 50 cents a copy.
Well, I even went to the DA to see if a crime occurred that he said he can't do and he can't tell and he can't control other cities in the county, but like if something happened here, courtroom, or in town, an actual crime, even though that is a crime, but it's not under his jurisdiction or whatever he called it. But I was just figuring that you guys would be able to see what's going on here. But if you can't do that, okay, I didn't know, but I just thought I'd put that in.
I don't think any paperwork was filed with us as far as those costs or anything like that, so we wouldn't have any.
Well, I just thought if a town tells you this is what it costed us, or this is what happened, and if they're caught in a lie, I was kind of thinking, okay, well now, when we take the money in the county and split the money up and help the town, we're gonna withhold this because you're not morally competent. I just thought maybe you guys can do something like that.
It might be a call for the Ombudsman's office down in Des Moines. That's just a suggestion.
Well, I did go to Des Moines. I did talk with her. I don't know if you want to write this down in the minutes or at all, but this is the lady that told me that the deaf department and the state Lucas building has been closed because of state budget cuts.
this is a matter you'll have to deal with Thompson City Council on. When it comes to civil matters, I'm gonna double check with our attorney. When it comes to civil matters, we have no control.
And my guess is
Well,
if they,
I guess my last resort would be is.
Can I make a copy of it?
Yeah, you can make a copy. Yeah, my last resort would be is the fair hasn't happened, right?
Right.
Well, I guess I'll ask you, but I'm not gonna expect you to. I would just ask you if you could close it this year. And if they come back to you, you can just give them a brush off. And if you wanna have it next year, cool. But I just thought maybe this way they can't make any money. And, they can't get people to come to town. And I'm just trying to, I tried to shame them to death. I tried to go to the Globe Gazette. I talked with a reporter there, and the editor declined the story. A week later, they quit printing the Monday paper. Thank you. Then I went to KIMT, talked with the reporter there, because Tony Dahl works there, but he's on payroll, and he's a higher up. But anyway, they just declined the story too. So I just thought I would try and everything. The only thing I could think of is the Iowa Associated Press, because they print every story. My other option is I have an uncle that used to work at a news station. It was Darrell Johnson. His brother was Richard Johnson in Mason City. Because I'm adopted, really, I'm a Johnson, I'm not really a Cleveland. But I do have an uncle, but he passed away, but I might call in a favor, and I might have to go down there again. But I have been without work for a year, and this just feels like elementary school. I'm getting bullied, and I don't like it. I mean, I tried to tell Dave, and he knows the whole situation, and I tried to stay out of trouble, and I just can't believe that something like this could happen to a law-abiding, tax-paying person. But unfortunately, they were given a license to rob because legally, that's what they were able to do. The only other thing that I can think of in a situation like this where people can legally rob people is if you're married and if the wife doesn't like the husband, she can run to the bank, clean out the money, and then they go to the court, the judge can say, well, guess what? Too bad. Even though you're the husband, divorce isn't always 50-50. She beat you to the punch, she legally robbed you. That's her money if she had kids. So those are the two instances. And I still have not gotten back from Ted Gassman. I don't know what's going on. All I know is when I went down there for Memorial Weekend, they were out for the summer already, but I was trying to kill 3 birds with one stone. but it didn't work. I shouldn't say the word kill, sorry, I won't do that again. Well, thanks for your time, I just wish there was something, I'm just trying to pull all my options out.
My opinion is if I was you trying to justify what they billed you
Well,
for
see,
cleanup,
basically, they're trying to say that at the end of it. And you know how the law is? The law is so vague and so broad. See, you know what I'm talking about, when something, like if a female is afraid of somebody, you assaulted her just by being 100 yards away as long as you created an intense fear. That's considered assault, even though you never touched her. That's how broad and vague the law is. But I didn't abandon it. What they need to do is put some tweaks in the law, and that's what I want to try to do with Ted Gassman. I didn't abandon it because I was paying taxes and I paid a guy to mow the lawn. I was paying him ridiculous good money. I didn't mind because, like I said, his wife was my mom's good friend from St. Ansgar. You know, I'll see, like here, you know I'm being honest and fair, and then I'm gonna leave. You know I'm being honest and fair because really legally I need an interpreter here. You know. But because you didn't do anything legally to me, like you didn't mail me a summons in the mail to a post office box, you know, and didn't pull any dirty tricks on that, I feel I can trust you. I know I can trust him because my father's done business with him and his wife, you know, and I've probably seen the guy casually, but I don't have a relationship, you know. But, I don't know, this is really eating me up. I just can't. I don't know what I did to deserve it. If they wanted me out of town, they could have just came to me and I would have been okay, you know, but I tried to sell it. I did try to sell it, but the economy was bad from 2008, really almost till now, because if you look around, it doesn't match up with Wall Street. Everybody has a hard time, but I would have tore the building down if they would have just came to me, you know, but
I don't think,
thanks for your time.
I don't think anybody spent $10,000 tearing it down, that's just what it would cost. I think they had someone come in and do it. I don't think there was $10,000 that exchanged hands. But if you were to have hired someone yourself to have them come in and tear it down, it probably would have cost you $10,000 because it costs practically that much to have them just tear a house down, let alone a little bit bigger building.
Well, that's common sense. To me, just something tells me that something isn't right with the whole big picture. Something smells from the get-go. All I know is my cousin hit it on the nail, Todd Cleveland. He's the one that helped me growing up because I had a lot of bullies in elementary school, and he used to beat them up for me because I couldn't defend myself. But since I've been 12 years old, for almost 25 years, everybody left me alone. No one bullied me. But anyway, Todd, he hit it on the nail, and he says he thinks someone saw my property and disliked it. I still can't believe that Tom told Steve that, you know, I'm the mayor and we can do what we want with the property. And he has no regard for conflict of interest now. I don't understand what's going on. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
See you later, Jeff.
Yeah.
Broadcaster is silent. The broadcaster is silent over here. So, no comment.
I do have a question for the supervisors. can have an afterthought, not an official meeting thing, just a possibility.
We can go back to.
Sure.
No, it's okay.
We ran open forum, I guess I never closed it.
I talked to Wright County, and she suggested that a lot of the counties are giving back their grant money without having discussed it with the district. So next year, we're going to get less. We're going to get $9,800 instead of $10,000. So what she wants me to do is to spend that, and initially, it's figured that half your salary is used by some of that grant money, but over time, it's to be less salary, and the county's supposed to cover the salary. So all that grant money is supposed to be for outreach activities. So if it's buying stuff for the fair or for parades, cups, hats, posters, coffee get-togethers for veterans, all that kind of stuff. So my question is if I get it okayed by the commission to purchase things for the fair, say a couple $1,000s worth of stuff. So because I didn't spend much out of that for outreach things this year. I don't want them to come back and say you supplanted county money, state money with county money, or vice versa.
Are we talking about the current fiscal year's 2017 budget or 18?
This current budget.
We can't really do it now.
There's nothing, things are done.
My question is, and this was her suggestion, was some counties, the supervisors are having special meetings just for handwritten things on Fridays. If you say no, I'm good with that. But I just wanted to throw it out there to see if that's a handwritten submission could be done on Friday for anything that is purchased between now and then to satisfy the state allocate, or the state $10,000.
The problem is you have to have it. You can't just order something. You have to physically have it in order for it to satisfy our surplus.
Okay.
So at this point,
I didn't know. Chris Oliver just brought it up because it's going to be handled at our meeting this Friday for lessons learned this last fiscal year, how everybody screwed up. As far as I know, I'm covered. I'm good. But just on off chance, if that's something that you would entertain.
at this point, there's nothing.
Okay, that's all I
Unless you
needed.
get it delivered by Friday, but and then you still have to have them come in and have a meeting to approve it. So I don't.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because Wright County brought it up, and she's my state chain of command.
I don't think there's anything we can do at this point.
Okay.
I'm not sure I followed all of it, but that would change the budget too, right?
Well, he's still got money in his budget.
Oh,
It's just how we spent it.
Cycle.
I just
Also,
wanted to make sure that you had all the information from my meeting.
If you buy things like pens and hats and cups and whatever, you need to have a public purpose statement for that. So you can talk to me about that later, but
Okay.
I don't think you've done that in the past, but you need to make sure you do it going forward.
I didn't want to leave anything out from this morning's.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Mike.
What's that?
What's the transfer?
We haven't, okayed the claims yet either.
The claims we did,
Payroll.
but not payroll claims. We're still looking for it.
Payroll. All right, we'll, consider for approval end of fiscal year auditors transfers.
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second it. Sorry. I'll second it. Motion Stenger, a second from Jensvold to approve end of fiscal year auditors transfers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, consider for approval fiscal year 2018 resolutions.
The attachment for the first one, I can't technically run it until the first, so I will run that on Monday when we roll over the budget. And I can email it out to you guys if you want.
Pretty much the same as every other year.
Yeah, it's just the appropriations for the 18 budget. And there's 5 of them there. I don't need those stamped, Mike, just need the signature.
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2018 resolutions.
I'll second that.
Motion carries, second for Stetser, to approve fiscal year 2018 resolutions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claims.
I'll second that.
Motion is Derby, a second for Stetser, to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anything else?
I hope not.
We stand adjourned.
Good week, you guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yep.
Morning.
then, last time when you guys approved this, they only stamped the one, so I just need these all stamped. So do you want one of them to stamp it?
Julie, I stamped this one today, so I'll make you copies.
Oh, you did get these?
Yeah.
Okay, because I noticed that last
Yeah.
week and I thought, oh, shoot.
I'll just make you copies.
Okay, so she'll take care of it. Okay, thank you. I'll wait till you're done. I have not courthouse business, I don't think.
We're standing adjourned right now.
Do you have flow business?
Yeah,
It saves me having to walk down to Ridge so
okay.
I just have to sign.
This is for you. You're done.
Okay.
So we'll just give that to you and then I'll tell you.